You're listening to the Faeries and Folklore podcast by Ronel. I'm dark fantasy author Ronel Janse van Vuuren. With nearly a decade of digging around in dusty folklore books, researching creatures of imagination that ignited my curiosity, I'm here to share the folklore in a nutshell and how I reimagined it for my writing in An Origin of the Fae. This is the Faeries and Folklore podcast. Hi, I'm your host, Ronel Janse van Vuuren. You can just call me Ronel. In today's episode, we're continuing our exploration of the Fae realm. This episode is brought to you by my Origin of the Fae book series. You've met them on the podcast, now see them in action. Go to ronelthemythmaker.com/Origin of the Fae series for more. And remember, that's Fae with an AE. You can now support my time in producing the podcast, researching, writing, and everything else involved by buying me a coffee. This can be a once-off thing, or you can buy me coffee again in the future at your discretion. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Ronel to support me. We're continuing our exploration of the workers of death. Today's fairy, Grim, Folklore in a Nutshell by Ronel. The church Grim or kirk Grim comes from a folk memory of sacrifice, when black dogs were buried alive in a churchyard to sanctify the ground and to watch over the rest of the dead. As the guardian of all churchyards, the church Grim appears in the form of a black dog and protects the dead from the fairies' supernatural creatures. This dog is often seen on stormy nights and is a portent of death. And now for my interpretation of the Fae, in An Origin of the Fae, Grim. The Grim is a black dog that looks a lot like a wolf. It has brown markings on its legs, a lot like that of a cushy. They can become shadows to stay invisible to mortal eyes. They live in the other world, guarding the mistress of the veil between worlds. Their job is making sure that all festivities that have to do with the mortal world and theirs go smoothly, Samhain, solstice, etc. Sometimes they have to hunt fairy hybrids, magical lakes, and other things that threaten their mistress or the festivities they safeguard. They also occasionally hunt down escaped spirits of the dead. You know you are close to the veil if you spot a Grim. Like all black dogs, they are fierce protectors and very loyal. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Faeries and Folklore podcast and that you've learned something new about fairy. Remember that you can get a transcript of this episode in the description. If you're new to the podcast, why not go and grab your free copy of Unseen, the second book in the fairy tale series, on my website, ronelthemythmaker.com. Loads of folklore, magic, and danger await. Take care.